Yeah, what's up? It's your boy Marwin. Today I'm making oxtail. I love a good oxtail recipe, but when I look around all the oxtail recipes, they talk about tenderoni, tenderness. I never hear them talking about flavor. We got Jamaican oxtail, we got Southern smothered oxtail. That's what's out there. I like both of those. Don't get me wrong, but I thought I'd change it up a bit. What if I told you we can make a sweet, sticky, icky glaze with some Dr. Pepper, guava paste, and a little tamarind. Some Caribbean vibes, sweet, sticky, still super tender, but just a whole different flavor experience. That's what we're gonna do today. Stick with me. Let's go in my kitchen and I'll show you how to do it. The prep starts with the oxtail. It's all about cleaning and trimming. You got to inspect your oxtail to figure out how much of that fat you're gonna trim. I mean, the benefit of the fat is the fact that it's part of the reason that you have like such tender results is all of the fat and all of the collagen. But you want to trim some of it off because it can make your braise taste fatty and feel fatty in terms of the mouth feeling. You don't want that. So I try to trim some of the excess stuff away and leave behind a thin layer. Washing is the other important part. You can wash in different ways. I'm just using water, but a lot of people would use like lime juice to scrub or vinegar. It's really about looking at the water color to figure out if you clean them enough. You'll see the color change. So let that be your guide. When the water runs clear, that means you're good to go. If you really want to kind of scrub and wash, try to get all the grimy and dirt and other stuff, the impurities away. Then it's all about chopping those vegetables. Chopping vegetables is really your prep. And so you got garlic, you got onions that you're really going to be cutting. With your onions, you want to try to cut them as even as possible. You're not striving for perfect. They don't have to be perfectly the same shape, but as close to the same as you can. That helps with like the way they break down and also when you're eating later. Not so much in the braise, but you want to be mindful of it. For my pepper, I got a Scotch bonnet or Trinidad scorpion or habanero can also be used. And you see me just puncture holes because I want to use that whole pepper. I want the flavor, but not the heat. And then the forearms are going to get some work because you're going to have to grate the piloncillo, which is a Mexican brown sugar, but it comes in this cone. You can let it melt if you want to have the time. It will melt in the pan as you're making the braise, but I just chose to go ahead and grate up front to save time when I'm cooking because it does take a while for it to melt because you're talking about low temperatures here. Your basic seasoning that I'm going to use for these oxtail are salt, pepper, paprika, and allspice. And you'll see me using this seasoning throughout as I continue to season at every phase. But it's really like those four ingredients. That's like my all-purpose seasoning that I use a lot in my cooking. You can add different spices or different ingredients if you want. Garlic powder would be one that's I would use if I wanted that fifth spice ingredient. This next step, this is one of the most essential steps when you're gonna braise oxtails or any other kind of beefy meat. You want to brown hard. What I mean by that is you want a really good sear. You don't want. I know a lot of times when people are sautéing or they're browning, the temp is pretty low, but you want. I mean, you're not high heat, but you do want a certain level of heat to get a really good sear, really good brown. You know it's ready when to flip as it starts to kind of release. So if you kind of tug on it with your tongue, you'll see that it'll be a little sticky. Once that stickiness is gone away, that tells you that hey, you got a pretty good sear, and you want to flip it. What that does is it helps with the caramelization, helps to kind of lock in that flavor for when you start cooking. And also, let's be honest, visually, it just looks better. You get that nice brown color, that nice browning on the outside that just kind of makes these look a little more inviting, a little more tasty. And that's the vibe that you're going for, right? With the braised oxtail. So brown hard, give it a good sear. You can never go wrong when you're doing that with the braise. It'll probably take you about 3 minutes per side, depending on how thick the oxtail are, and also like what kind of temperature you're using. Right, but you can see the color kind of coming together on these as I cook them, and I'm pretty happy with what I got here. Right, so you want both sides to look like this. We're not gonna like turn these upside down or try to get the side. This is really about the the front and back. We'll let the side to side just be relevant in our UGK song. So for me, I'm gonna take these off, sit these to the side while I work on my veggies. And the veggies are pretty simple, right? You saw me. It's really about those onions. I'm using yellow onions. I know a lot of people use white, which is fine in this dish. I just like the flavor profile. It's a little milder in this. And you see me, I've already added my chili. I'm adding that whole chili again. I want the flavor of the chili, but not the heat of the chili. And the flavor of a chili is kind of, how would I describe it? It's actually a little more sweeter than like the heat that you get. The heat comes from the inside with the seeds and the veins, and so that's while I'm just kind of working with the exterior. You see me season as I go. Again, same seasoning that I talked about before that I seasoned the oxtail with. And I'm going to continue to saute my onions until they become a little translucent, break down a little bit just to kind of get that raw onion vibe out. This is guava paste. This is going to be essential to this, and you're going to see me add that here so it can start the melting process. The paste melts a lot easier than that piloncillo brown sugar you saw me with earlier. That's a lot harder. So I'm going to add my beef broth. You can make a homemade broth, controlling for salt and things like that, or use a store brand beef broth. I would just make sure that the sodium levels are on the lower side because with all the seasoning that you're going to be doing, there's going to be salt there, and so you don't want to over salt this dish and just kind of have it tasting like too overtly salty, right? So you see me deglazing with the beef broth as the guava starts to melt, and I'm going to add my DP, Dr. Pepper. It's a great seasoning agent for a lot of different reasons. There are so many different. If you've had Dr. Pepper, think about all the different flavor notes that are in that particular drink. And I've actually had the opportunity to go to the Dr. Pepper Museum to see how it's made, and you understand why those different flavors, when they're concentrated, add a lot to a braise. And so I saved about a quarter cup because I'm going to need some later for the glaze. The next thing is going to be that tamarind paste. Tamarind is used in a lot of Caribbean dishes, some Indian, but it's got that kind of tang, that tart flavor, that kind of like a more intense Worcestershire sauce. I said that wrong. I always joke on and kind of mess that word up. My wife hates it when I pronounce it, but it's, I always go with the woo-woo, like Worcestershire. But hey, you get my point. So we're just gonna like mix this up, pretty well. Continue to kind of help the guava to break down. But you want to, mix things in pretty well and let it cook for about 10 minutes or so those flavors start to come together. And then you can add back that oxtail that you've browned previously. You want to have enough liquid in the pan such that the oxtails are pretty much, if not fully covered, about 95%, fully submerged in the braising liquid. We'll reduce the liquid later, but for now, it's important to kind of have all the ingredients like really in that liquid base. I like thyme. I love thyme. So thyme you see a lot in my cooking. So I'm going to add a couple of sprigs or branches, whatever you call it. Then we're going to cover it up and do the braise. You can either simmer it on the stove top at a really, really low temperature, or you can bake it in the oven at about 300 degrees for 3 to 4 hours, depending on the thickness of your oxtails. We're not going to do a whole lot of checking. The one thing you want to do is make sure you get that chili out early enough in the process so that it doesn't break down and add all that fire to the oven. But that's really the only time we're going to take any peeking at the dish. So you pull that chili pepper out at about an hour and then let it just continue to braise for the rest of the cooking time. And then we're going to take it out. Again, we're going to remove the oxtail from the pot one more time. This time you just want to remove it so you can make room to start reducing and work on that glaze. And so I'm going to strain the liquid, the braising liquid, into another pan. So I want to remove, the onions and the thyme and the garlic, and just let that liquid base seep through the strainer, because that's going to be the base and foundation for the glaze. We're going to have to add some sugar to it to concentrate the flavor and kind of help with the thickening and help with the intensity of things, but that's the goal. You may have to, kind of help the liquid pass through the strainer, that's fine. Now we're going to add some spices to really make this kind of complex. You see me add some like star anise and cinnamon sticks, and then I got my some more of that piloncillo, right? And then that reserved quarter cup of Dr. Pepper I mentioned before. We're going to add all of that, give it a nice mix, and we're going to increase the temperature a little bit. And what we want is the heat and the sugar to help all of those flavors concentrate and kind of come together. I'm spooning away some of the fat that's been kind of accumulating. That's really important. Kind of like what I talked about before, removing some of the fat from the oxtail. You're going to be skimming off some of the fat from your liquid glaze. Again, we don't want that mouthfeel to be overly fatty, and we want really just to taste the intensity of those ingredients, that Dr. Pepper, that tamarind, and that guava that was kind of sitting in there. So I'm putting this back to the pot once I've cooked it. My glaze is nice and tight right, like I like it. The only thing I would say here is make sure your pan is low heat. I came in hot on this one. Kind of regretted that. You really wanted to just get a nice little simmer, because we're just going to really kind of work with this thickened, concentrated glaze to get the oxtail covered. We don't want it so hot that it becomes gummy. And sticky is good, but too sticky is a problem. And so that's what I'm telling you. Go with a lower temperature when we're going to glaze these bad boys. And so that's the watch out. Be careful when you handle the oxtail, because they are pretty tender. And for visuals, you want them to look and remain intact. And so as you're using your spoon to kind of maneuver the oxtail in that glaze, be a little gentle so that, again, things don't fall apart or pull apart and start to look a certain way. Not to say they won't be good, because that glaze is everything, and those oxtails are tender, and they cook in that low, braising liquid that's got so much complexity and so many layers of flavor that, you're really going to enjoy this. And so you can see like how this is concentrated in the bottom of the pan, and I'm literally just kind of guiding the oxtail, through there. And you want to get all the sides. And so I'm going to flip these gently as I can as I handle these oxtail. And so this is the fun part of cooking. It's you kind of let it sit in the oven for like 3 hours. Now you get a chance to use your hands, use your spoon to just really be engaged with the dish, as opposed to just like sitting and waiting. So that's it. This is the dish, and now it's just a matter of all the other stuff. And so what I would say is, if I were to describe it, you got tender oxtail with that Dr. Pepper, guava, and tamarind glaze. It's deeply savory, luxuriously rich, and layered with sweet, tart complexity. I don't know what else more to say. That Dr. Pepper just kind of transformed everything. You got caramel, cherry, vanilla, and just warm spice. That's the dish. If you dig it, as always, leave a like, a comment, but most importantly, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and get these recipes to your inbox weekly when I post new content. Thanks. Peace out.